What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a conversation with Joshua T. Berglan. Today, we have an amazing guest, Mr. Marc Joseph from babyboomers.com. Of course, Marc has been involved in some really amazing, powerful media projects, but he's doing something for what I call the forgotten and underappreciated generation, the baby boomers. He's got this amazing website, which I just so happen to be a part of, even though I'm not a baby boomer. I'm so excited to tell you guys all about this. Let Marc tell you about his vision. This is just going to be cool. He's a super neat guy. He's doing something really special to me and really special for other people, but to me, it's super neat. And I'm just really excited to get into this conversation. Also, want to make it known. I think I said that right, make it known. Anyway, you can go to joshuatberglan.com and subscribe for all of the broadcasts. The video broadcasts are all behind a paywall, which means you have to be a member to get access. The podcast is always going to be free, but you know what? I'm sometimes fun to look at. I can't even take myself serious. You know what? Here's the deal. If you like to listen, great. If you like to watch, even better, because I look really good on a big screen. Should not be this funny. Why am I laughing at myself? Anyway, nonetheless, I'm so happy to have you here. But in all seriousness, all of the services at joshuatberglan.com and also our app that you can go to Google Play and the iTunes store, you can just search my name and find my apps there, very similar to my website and how it's designed. But we have buy one, give one on all services. So even if you become a member for these broadcasts, you can gift my broadcast to someone else. You just let me know that when you order who you want to give it to. But any of the other services like Media Company in a Box, which is the future of media. And it's what it is, it's part technology, part service. But nonetheless, it is literally a media company in a box that allows you to monetize all of your intellectual property. But more importantly, or maybe it's not more importantly, but it's just as important, is that it can add at least 8 revenue streams to your existing business and what you're doing now. I know that sounds crazy, but it's not as difficult as you think. So check that out, Media Company in a Box. I want to give a shout out to Connie Whitman. So honored to be on your podcast, which was just released yesterday. It was a really special time, got to hear it, and super grateful for you. Nonetheless, okay, so really grateful to have you here. I know I said that already, but I genuinely am, because going down this path of self-hosting my own content, it's a crazy road. I've lost all of the immediate feedback that you get from being on social media and other platforms, but it's really meant a lot, all of the people that have come over and subscribed, because that money goes towards our mission, which is our Voices for the Voiceless project and youth media literacy centers all over the world. All of everything I do, and the reason why it's buy one, give one, is because I'm just as passionate about my mission and teaching media and giving media services and supplies and training to those who I believe need it most, and those are the voiceless. Media is such a powerful platform. Media allows us to be ourselves. Media is freedom. And I know that when you hear media, there's such a nasty connotation attached to it because of rightfully the media or the mainstream media sucks. But we that are in independent media have a huge responsibility and a huge opportunity to help destroy the power structure that lies now or that exists now, help destroy that, splinter into millions of people. So basically, it's a redistribution of power and influence and giving it into the hands of people that speak the truth, people that have had their voices suppressed for a lifetime, people that have not felt heard. Media is such a powerful tool that regardless of what you've done in your past, regardless of your record or even your education, media is the fuel tank for your purpose. Media is the vehicle that you get to drive your purpose to the destination that you wish to go. And without Media Company in a Box, without this vehicle, I would not be living the life of my dreams. And I wish that for everybody, because I believe with all my heart that when you're living in your purpose, you have no time to be a racist douchebag. You have no time to be a homophobic. You have no time to be judgmental or a jerk, because you're too busy enjoying your life, enjoying your God-given purpose, and doing what you were created to do. Because when you're enjoying life, When do you have time to be an a-hole? You don't. You don't have time. So that's why I'm so driven about people living in their purpose, regardless of what they've done in their life. And frankly, when we're all living in joy, life is a lot more fun. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am so honored to introduce to you the founder of babyboomers.com, and you're going to hear all about it today, Mr. Marc Joseph. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a conversation with Joshua T. Berglan. I am so honored today to introduce the founder and creator of boomers.com, Mr. Marc Joseph. Marc, how you doing today, man?
Great. I appreciate you inviting me.
I am so honored to have you here. But before we get into baby boomers and just more about you, can you tell us today what you're grateful for and why?
I am grateful to be alive. When you think about it, and think about what we just all went through with this COVID experience, how many friends we lost. The actual age of us baby boomers was reduced. In 2019, it was 78 years old we'd lived to 10 months. In 2020, it was 77.3, 2021, 76.1. It's going down and down. So I'm just glad to be here today.
You know what? That actually makes me, I've never even thought about this. Before I got into entertainment and media, I worked with complex disabilities, and the primary demographic I worked with were baby boomers and people that, 70s, 80s, and 90s, but I did work with the youth as well. But that generation being, to me, is the forgotten generation. It seems like we've underappreciated them and really taken their wisdom for granted, which is really upsetting. But the one thing I didn't think about was what it was like for other baby boomers to see what was happening all around them. That just makes me want to sit down, to be honest with you, because it's sad. What is it for you? And I really admire what you're doing with baby boomers, and I want to get into all that. But for you, what is it like to, as a baby boomer yourself, to look around and see how underappreciated your generation is?
The generation in ourselves, the baby boomers, we appreciate ourselves.
Yeah. I'm talking about everybody else.
Yeah, we're probably the most egotistical generation that's come around in a long time. We feel good about ourselves. It's so nobody else doesn't understand us. Is that good or bad? Does it really matter? As we get older, what we want to do is figure out, what is our legacy? What are we going to leave? What are we going to leave to these next generation besides money? What is it that we can influence them so that they can become better than we ever were?
Wow. That's what you're doing with baby boomers, right? As helping people leave a legacy?
When you think about it, the baby boomer generation is as diverse as anyone before us and after us, both religiously and politically, especially politically. You can see that going on every single day, and ideas and so forth. But the one thing that the baby boomers have in common is this shared experience. And what I mean by that is, when we were growing up, there were only 3 television stations. We all had landlines. So all the information that we got as a group, we got it as a baby boomer generation. You think about when we grew up, when the Kennedys were assassinated, when Martin Luther King was assassinated. We grew up when there was a landing on the moon for the first time. Birth control became widespread during our generation. Vietnam happened. Good or bad, we lost the Kent State that happened while we were growing up. But we also grew up with music. We all appreciated the music. We had the Beach Boys and Elvis and the Beatles and Three Dog Night and the Supremes. That was our generation. That brought us together. We had the movies that brought us together, whether it was Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, all the Spielberg movies like Jaws, Animal House, Star Wars, The Godfather. These are movies that brought us together. So we are a generation that have these shared experiences. And that's one of the reasons we decided to build babyboomer.org.
That makes a lot of sense. But even with the way that you said that, pardon the way that I'm about to say this, but that even seems self-serving. Like, it doesn't seem so much about leaving anything for the next generation. Is it really just for the baby boomers?
No,
disrespectfully, I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you take a look at how we build our site, we want to have everything that you need as a baby boomer. There's an area for retirement. There's an area for dating, because a lot of us are dating. There's an area for fitness. There's an area for your bucket list. So we all have bucket lists. What do we do? What haven't we done? There's things for retirement communities, all kinds of sports, pickleball. There's a whole section on pickleball that calls to us, but also There's major influences on dementia and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, because that's all the kinds of things we have to worry about. We've built this for purely just information for people to help and share things. And the interesting thing that we're watching as this site is starting to build is how many younger people are coming to it, because they're trying to figure out their baby boomer parents. They're trying to figure out what makes them tick. But they're also looking for information. As we just heard about Bruce Willis, there's Alzheimer's and there's all kinds of issues that are affecting our generation. And all generations need to understand that. And that's another reason we put this together.
I think it's one of the most beautiful together sites ever. And I was really kidding about the self-serving things because there's so much information there, the value. And it reminds me of, it's like the digital avatar of getting to go to a nursing home and sit and talk to the elderly people and hear their stories, hear the wisdom that came from their generation, the lessons that they learned, and so on. So it's amazing how you've recreated something that I grew up doing, going to nursing homes, assisted living centers. I'm working in healthcare for as long as I did. So going there, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really neat. So I'm actually honored to be a part of it. I was a little shocked that I was asked to be there, but I'm blown away with what you've created. It's neat. But more importantly, the other thing that I find super interesting about it, and what I find that makes my heart really happy, is that you're providing an opportunity for older people to leave a legacy, to pass on their wisdom in a way that they couldn't before. And that's really cool, because it's one thing, you have all these 20 somethings and even people my age that are 43 that have podcasts and TV shows, and everyone's just throwing out their opinions. And so the one thing I've noticed about your website is it's not so much opinion based, it's a lot of wisdom. Yes, there's a lot of information.